decided to split up what we were doing, we realized that we started this and it wasn't my renewal month. And it wasn't the month that we had to pay for Rally. And it wasn't the month that we had to pay for catalog. So everything was kind of skewed. So if we just saved a little bit divided by 12, then I wouldn't necessarily have the right amounts at the right time. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So the dividing it by 12 is a basic place to start. So I'm going to turn the time over to Mike with his spreadsheet. Just know that if you know your monthly amount, if this gets too confusing, you've got a good place to start, and then Mike can help you with the rest after. But he's going to explain his spreadsheets up here. Is there anything else that we should consider that I'm forgetting as far as money that we're saving toward, or any other hints about money things? That's kind of what, it's been what, 2.5 years or something that we've been doing this, and those seem to be the things that we've kind of settled on. So go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Like Crystal said, if you take, these are just a sampling of some of the things that we did, just so we can look at it easy here. So, you get your renewal, your registration, your flight, taxi, hotel, spend cash, Rally, website, and catalogs. My wife is not going to say no to these things. That's the way I looked at it. I'm like, she's never going to say to me, we're not going to Rally, we're not doing the renewal, we're not. So these are the things that she's always going to say yes to. So here you got the cost per year that they are. So like everybody's going to renew. So that's $350, right? So we break it down, divided by 12, is $29.17 per month, in theory, that you got to save for, because you know that's coming. So either you can either not see that coming and all of a sudden get hit with a $350 renewal fee and hope that you have the shows the month before to cover that, or you can look at this here. My financial advisor likes to say that kids do what feels good, and adults devise a plan and stick to it. And so this is the plan for us. We're looking at this saying, we know these are coming. She's not going to say, let's not renew, let's not go to Rally. So we're looking at it, and that's the breakdown per month. So in this example here, $1,500 a year for all the stuff that she's not going to say no to. Now this doesn't look at the show costs. I look at show costs separately. We go to a show and you've got, you make sales. That's gonna replace anything that you used up at the show. You got catalogs and maybe whatever you got, right? And so this is other stuff beyond the show. So $1,500. So about $127 per month that you're trying to save, because you've got expenses coming up. Number 2 there.
Can I jump in here really quick?
Sure.
So what we've been doing now, this isn't my specific number, this is just a general, but I have a team, I've sponsored, I'm a designer, so when I get my commission check every month, the first thing I do is take this amount that I know I need to put away, and I put it in a separate savings account, and I just call it my Premier Stash. So my expenses are already taken care of, and I put it away. Now if you're not doing that, if you're not building yet, you don't have a team, that's perfectly fine, but you have your first show. The first thing you should do after you pay Premier for that show is, we pay tithing. If you don't know what that is, we'd be happy to talk to you about that. But we take that first. That's 10% of our increase. And then after that, the next thing you would do is take the amount that you need to put away and put that away first before you do anything else and spend anything else. Does that make sense that you want to do that first? Now, any other shows that you have the rest of the month, you know that your expenses, your major expenses are already taken care of. Yes? Okay. So this is the smart way to do it. It took us 2.5 years to get there, but we did.
Okay, too big. Okay, so here now we look and we see, okay, let me cross here. Our renewal comes up in August, right? So we're saving towards that payment in August. You can see the other months that these other expenses come up. So we're looking at that. And so now in August we've got $350. But in July, we've got 3 payments going out, so we've got $400. So you can see if we're not saving $127 every month in the stash account, like she said, I don't know. If we're not saving $127 in that stash account and leaving that separate from the family,
switch
mics.
Give me that one. I'll give the batteries.
I don't know if that one's on either.
Is anything on? Check it.
Dave's having pretty bad problems. Is this working?
No. You're loud. Your fault.
So
we have 5 kids. You can hear him.
So if we see this $127 in January and all of a sudden we got nothing going out and she gives it to the family, we're going to get screwed because we need $480 in July, right? So we can't take that and go buy fly fishing gear because we need it for the business. So it's stash that away, right?
And why we mean mine.
Right? So this month we're going to stash that away. We're going to hide it, and it's not going to be used for anything because we know we got these bills coming up. Number 3, Dave. Okay. So now I've taken out all these other ones. We'll look just at the renewal, just to break it down easy for you. So we see that $350 coming up. So the monthly cost is $29 a month. This is where it starts getting crazy. Crystal's going to think I'm giving you too much information. That's fine, because as long as you know that you got to save some money because you've got stuff coming up, you're at least a step ahead from just transferring it back and forth to family and business, right? So what we do is in this month over here, September, it says $29.17, and that's the monthly. That's the monthly times 1.
Oh, you're adding it up together.
Then we do the monthly times 2 and monthly times 3, and we finally get over here, and it's this $29.17 is the monthly times whatever it is, 6 months or something there. Okay. So we know in January, in theory, we've saved $145 towards this cost coming up in 6 months. Now I'm saying in theory because in a few minutes it gets crazy and I don't even understand it.
There's this
Okay.
ruling. So the reason why it looks confusing is because I started in August. If you started in January, it makes a little bit more sense because it flows. So I started August, so that's what, 2917?
Yeah, you're starting your year with a
Right.
year of savings.
Well,
Right.
you
For
saved up till
renewal.
August and you just spent the $350, so now you save 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12.
Right, get it?
Until
That
you
makes
come
sense?
back up to 12/12 and you
Yes.
got the money saved up.
Okay.
Okay? So that's why we stripped out all the others, because now it's gonna get real crazy here in a second. Dave, number 4?
I just want to throw out there too, really quick, that this numbery stuff only means like this much to me. I just want to know that we have enough to be able to cover everything. A lot of times this is kind of how it's going to go. Some ladies are like number ladies. I know like Nikki loves this stuff. It's usually the men that are like on top of this stuff and they love their spreadsheets and their numbers and stuff like that, and that's okay. So tell them what you need to do and they'll be happy to help you do this, because then they're not going to see the family money going out to their business because they're going to be helping you do this too. So this right here, I looked at that and I was like, what? What are you doing?
So let me tell you what I'm doing here. So this is again, you know, like this is a certain amount, a certain number of 12ths. This is where it gets confusing, and I understand that.
Well,
You know.
start with this. So the red, when you see it in red, that's when it's paid out.
Okay.
So there are certain things that we're all going to pay out at the same time. Like when you buy your new catalogs, it's always going to be at the same time. We're all going to register for Rally at about the same time. There's a couple things that will change, like our renewal date. Really, that's the main thing, is the renewal date. It changes the most, or what month you buy your flights in. But for the most part, the red, you know, that's what it's actually paying out. That's why the numbers are goofy and spread all over. Does that make sense too? Okay.
Excuse me, I gotta dismiss this. Oh, I'm supposed to be at my mom's house right now.
Did you tell her you're not coming?
I forgot to tell her. Next time, spreadsheet for that.
That's done.
So this is the goal amount we're trying to save every month. And as you can see in January, this is how much in theory we're saving towards it. But if you do quick math in your head, you'll see that this number does not match the sum of those numbers.
Right.
Don't ask me to explain why, but trust me, it just works out. Except it doesn't work out, and I'll tell you that too in a minute. So
He's with me, ladies.
I think right now would be a good time to start dancing.
So the benefit of this, though, to us is that we figured it out. So if I say to Crystal, how much is in your stash right now? If she tells me $343.67, I'm like, sweet, perfect. Now she says, I'm doing this for Rally, I'm registering us, I'm doing this. I got no problem because she's got the right amount in there. Next month, after she pays nothing, because there's nothing red up there, finally we come to this month, she pays something, when it's all done, said and done, she should have close to $400 saved. So that's what we're trying to save each month, have left over each month in our account. Now, for some strange reason, and I don't know why, we're at $148 in the negative there. Go
I think
Nikki.
it's just a spreadsheet error.
So what I do is I say,
Are you counting in the 127.22 for that month?
yeah, we add it, we subtract the expenses from the month before, and we also add the number from the month before that we saved. So realistically, this has given us a real close but not quite accurate number. But for me, absolutely. But you may laugh at that, but I've seen all of you out on Facebook on the Jewelers Only group saying, my husband thinks this is a hobby and it's not a business.
Not you girls, because you girls are awesome. We've
Yeah.
seen other people.
But for
on here.
me, for us, this gives us a target. We want to have 300 and then 500 and 600 because we know exactly each month what we have to save because we know what's coming up. And the benefit of that, for me personally, as the guy that wants the money, I could care less half the time about the jewelry, I like to
He
know.
loves it. Don't
I'd
let
like
it
to
go.
know that she's supporting this without having to take money from the family. So by breaking this down, it gives us that confidence that it's working.
Right.
And I knew all along that she had made her money back and she was making money, but it was hard to track. This gives us that path and that plan to say, we know what we're saving towards it. And so now, we save towards it based on that number that we use. And thanks, Dave. So if you bump this up to 140 and you get that one that's negative up, you can say, okay, 142 instead of 127. You can do that. That's one show. Who's got a show that's $250, right? 2 shows a month, you're fine, and that puts you in rally every freaking time. All right? Who wants to go to rally?
Woo!
Yeah, right? We'll start saving $142 then.
So there's 2 numbers basically that, because this is a lot of numbers, 2 numbers that you want to know. You want to know how much you have to deposit every month, so you'll have enough. And then this other number that you see down here that goes up and down, it goes up and down because we pay out sometimes. So that's the other number. So as long as you know about what you're supposed to have in there at the end of the month after you've made your payment for your catalogs or after you've made your registration payment, you should know about what you have left over, because then you'll know that you'll be set up for the months coming. Does that make sense? Is everybody understanding this?
Just don't drain your
Okay.
Premier account.
Don't drain it all the way, but you don't have to keep excessive amounts in there either, because you got into Premier to make money, a lot of us did. So you want to make sure that you can handle that and make sure that you're still supporting your business and spending the money that you need to spend and taking the profit that you need to take.
But to some extent, this is for the poor people in the room. And I admit it, I'm the poor people in the room, right? Because if we don't watch this and we give too much to the family, like we're back at the beginning, now the family has to give back to the business. If you've got enough money in your family that you don't need to funnel money there, like Carrie said, you can pack it all in your Premier account and you don't have to watch it as close. But a lot of people get into it for the money, and if you're not watching it initially and you start doing this back and forth, it becomes a hassle, it becomes a hobby, it becomes a fight in the family, and you don't want that. You want to be able to have this as a blessing to your family, not as something that causes, contention between your spouse or whoever, right? So there's a lot of numbers, but to me, this has given me the piece to know that she's on track and she's putting the money aside instead of giving it up to us for fun money.
Right. And I want to make it clear that it's not like a his money, my money kind of a thing. You're running a business, and businesses have to run things just a little bit differently, so keep that in mind. So what you'll want to do is, now you have your list of everything that you have that you know that you need to do for the year, and then you'll want to know that you have maybe some other expenses that come up that are a little less consistent, a little less planned like this. Like you need new supplies, you need new pens, or you need, I don't know, whatever it is, whatever you're spending on. That extra money, you'll have to decide what percentage of your profit you want to give to your family as profit, and what percentage you want to keep back to cover those other kinds of incidentals. And that's more of a personal thing. You have to decide how much money you need from Premier for your family once you've taken care of this. But you'll kind of want to look at it that way, as a percentage that goes, that goes back. One thing that Lori taught me, actually, for kind of a rule of thumb, if you're building a team, you have a team of people and you are getting a commission check, when you get those checks are meant to bless us and our families, as a thank you from Premier to help sponsor and training and all of that. But we're also supposed to be using some of that money to help encourage our team and bless our team. And so Lori heard in training a while ago and passed it on to me that you should plan about 10% or so of your commissions that come in to put back into your team in some way, shape, or form, whatever that looks like to you. So you don't have to spend the house. Is that the right terminology for that? Break the house, break the bank, whatever. You don't, right? You don't have to spend all of your commission back on your team, because you did get it because you have a team and they're working, but it is meant for you, for your family. But you want to make sure that you are encouraging your team and being able to. What's that? That's right. Look at it that way too. That's right, Nikki. Your team is your family, and they're your Premier family. So you want to make sure that you're blessing them and giving them promotions or whatever it might be. So 10% is kind of the rule of thumb with that. Was there anything else?
The last thing I want, Dave, if you hit the Crystal and Mike link. This is ours, and if you look here, for me again, she goes to rally, and I went with her. I've been to Texas twice. She's been there 4 times. So if you scroll down here, Dave, what's that number? 3,300. 3,300. That's what we need to be able to do all these things that we've got. Because there's lines for me like 919, Haven for me if I went again, and rally for me. So that's what we need. And I can tell you that Crystal, she makes that, and she makes more. So for me, because we broke it out, I can easily say, going to Rally isn't a family cost. It's a business cost, because she definitely makes more than $3,300 a year in it. So it's just a nice way for me to be able to say, okay, this is working, you know.
Does your spreadsheet work out?
Does ours work out as far as?
Unlike the other one that didn't work out?
No, I had to pad that one number too for some reason.
We'll have to
We'll
talk
talk.
to you to get the numbers.
Was it off the same amount?
I don't remember. It's been a few months since I've done it.
Mike is gonna tweak this and dumb it down, like, cause this is like crazy. Not, I don't think that sounds mean, I don't mean it to be mean. Like, we're gonna try to simplify it as much as possible so it's user friendly. I guess that's the word I'm looking for.
So you just
So we
plug in
can-
your numbers.
So you just
and
plug in your
yeah,
numbers and what
so-
month you renew, whatever, and then we're gonna try to get that done and up on Lori's site. It might take a little bit, so don't look for it like the next couple days, but we're gonna work on getting that up there. So you guys can kinda do the same thing. Right now, if you're planning to go to Rally, it's only January. It's 6 months away. If you take that $600 that we said, approximately $600